Hi, my name is Jordyn, and today here I have Staff Hollis.
How you doing? This is Staff Hollis.
And today we're going to be talking about tips and like ways to help kids who are being bullied at home and at school. What is some tips you have for kids that are being bullied at home or at school?
Some tips for kids that are being bullied at home or at school. I think is like you have to be very honest with yourself and find out and understand what's going on, and understand that bullying at home or at school is never right. So I think that if you're at home, if you're in a household and you have two parents, then you definitely should talk to the other parent, or if it's a brother or sister that's bullying you, you should tell your parents or auntie or uncle, whoever you're staying with, or grandparent, what's going on. And if it's a parent physically, I think, with you guys being students, you guys do have resources to tell teachers and administrators at school, because your teachers and the staff at school do have a right to protect all children as well.
If there is anything like you could, like anything you want to share with us about bullying, like what do you think, like how do you think bullying affects kids?
I think it affects kids' self-esteem. I think it affects kids' ability to learn at school, to be comfortable. I think it affects kids in a way that now they're showing up to a place that's not really happy for them. So it's like a natural stress where maybe they even go home and think about not wanting to be at home, or if they're getting bullied at school, then they don't really want to go to school.
How do you think this affects kids? Like, how do you think they feel at the time?
I think you can see the difference between like happy students and children from kids that are not, having like a productive lifestyle and people that can really support you and be there for you is like very influential to like how you're going to turn out in life. It's a cumulative circumstance. If you're getting a lot of like positive reinforcement at school and at home, then a lot of positive things are going to happen in your life. But as soon as something bad happens, it does affect everything else.
What are some ways that you think, like, what's some advice you could give to someone who's being bullied at home or at school?
Like we talked about, I think you really do need to use your resources and not be afraid of speaking up. And a lot of times, like, you have to really realize that you have to be sometimes your own person to protect yourself, because if no one else knows what's going on, then it's like, who's going to help you? So anybody that's being bullied has to take that first step in seeking help.
I feel like if anyone who's being bullied, I feel like they need to go talk to their parents. If they're being bullied at home, they need to talk to their parents. But if it's their parents bullying them, then they need to talk to someone at school. But I feel like if they're being bullied at school, you could also talk to a counselor, a teacher, or you could talk to like your parents about it. But if you're really getting bullied at home by your parents, and if it's really that serious, you could talk to the counselors. They give you a number to call, or they could talk to someone for you about it. And if you're being bullied at home, then you need to tell your parents, and you need to try to stay safe, and you need to try to be more like, but like, be more out there and open-minded, and try to like, try to like, stay away from people who are hurting you. What do you like? What's something you could share with a kid who's being bullied? Like, if you were a kid being bullied, what would you do, or how would you react?
When I was younger and I was bullied, I think one thing I could share to a kid is like, it does get better. Like, as soon as you make all the steps to like get past the bullying, or tell someone, or get help and stuff like that. And one thing about being bullied is the best feeling in the world is when you do something about it and you're not getting bullied anymore.
How would you, like, if you were a teacher or a counselor or a parent, how would you talk to the kid about the situation? Like, how do you deal with the situation?
I would find out everything that's going on. I definitely want to get like all the correct information, so it's just factual. Then I would want to have a conversation with both individual by themselves, so I can get both sides of their stories, so I can understand everything. I would try to talk to both students if I was here at the school. If that didn't work, if it's one student that really wasn't being compliant, then that's when I would try to get another adult involved, get like a different side of it, either reach out to the parents, or maybe have someone at school that they have a good relationship with, talk to them to try to like see if we can resolve the issue.
What is one thing, like a quote or something you could say to get people back on the right track and to make them feel safe and make them feel more good about themselves?
There's a lot of good quotes on the internet. I think I look up, just for my situation, I was raised faith-based in my house, so I pray a lot. And that's kind of what helps me through my problems. But everyone's different. Some people have different religions, and then some people just do different things to make them feel better. But for me, it was always prayer.
I feel like if you're ever having a hard time, I feel like you could watch videos or talk to someone about it. And I feel like if you don't want to talk to anyone about it, you could write it down in a journal or just uh, talk to someone at school if you don't want to talk to your parents, or if you want to talk to your parents instead of talking to someone at school, then you can do that. But I feel like if you're ever being bullied and you really need help, there are lots of ways that you could find help. You just have to want to do it and want to find the help that you need. This is Jordyn, and thank you for listening to my podcast.